Let's inhale and exhale. This is the breathing ball or the Hoberman Sphere. It's said that a picture is worth 1,000 words, and in kids yoga, you could say the same thing about a good prop. A good prop becomes your classroom management. It silences conversations and it draws kids into your circle. It's the difference between asking kids to be quiet and quieting them without having to ask. Just imagine sitting down in your classroom without having to say a word, just starting to breathe with the breathing ball. And suddenly you have kids' attention. The breathing ball is known as the Hoberman Sphere. It's a favorite prop of many kids yoga teachers and many adult teachers and seniors yoga teachers because it captures people's attention. It's a good tool for introducing how to connect with your breath. And it's more than just a nifty toy. It's a game or an activity that captures kids' attention. It's one I use all the time in my kids' yoga classes. And today I want to show you 3 ways to use the breathing ball. This is from our kids' yoga teacher training, from our Themes and Dreams module, from the Young Yoga Masters Registered Children's Yoga School. And these are 3 ideas, but there are a heck of a lot more in the training. So I hope if you're considering a kids yoga teacher certification that you'll consider Young Yoga Masters. So let's get into the breathing ball. One of the most handy things about the breathing ball is to use it as a way to explain how the lungs work. So you can talk about how when you inhale, the lungs expand and fill with air. And when you exhale, all the air goes out of the lungs and the lungs get smaller. If I were to say this without the breathing ball, if I just say there's these things called lungs in my body, that's a very conceptual idea because none of us actually see our lungs. And so we're just kind of have to trust or imagine that these things are there. But we can get a better idea of the concept when we think that in our body are these organs that expand and fill with air and then get smaller when we exhale. And so when you're the teacher, you can hold the ball and demonstrate it. And then the kids could actually feel their own lungs. Do they feel something expanding and getting smaller? And as the teacher, you can say, let's expand our lungs. And let's let all the air go out of our lungs. And so it's a way to bring something tangible to explain something that's actually quite conceptual for kids in a yoga class. The next thing about the breathing ball is to use it for a self-regulation tool for children. So when I teach kids yoga, I've learned it's a lot easier to let children choose to participate in the class. And so often we'll have a quiet area in the class where if people don't want to participate, they can just sit in the quiet area. And there might be a couple quiet activities that will help children self-regulate. And maybe they'll go into the quiet area for just, a minute, and maybe they might stay in it for half the class, depending on what kind of day they've had. So this would be a self-regulation tool I would have in the quiet area where children could just hold the ball and do some deep breaths. And I've had children, purchase balls of their own to have at home, and parents tell me that the children will keep it on their desk or keep it on their bedside table. And if they're working on homework or feeling frustrated about something, then this is a tool they can just do maybe 5, maybe 10, however many they need, breaths with the breathing ball. And it's an activity can imagine your lungs inhaling and expanding and exhaling and breathing out. And it's a very mindful activity because if you're breathing with the ball, then just like in mindfulness, breathing in, we know we're breathing in. Breathing out, we know we're breathing out. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. I'm connecting to my breath, and it's letting me let go of other thoughts that may be things that I don't want to think about. So it gives me something to self regulate myself. And then the third thing I want to talk about that you can use a breathing ball is that you can use the ball to mimic the breath so that children can follow the ball when they're breathing. So I could say to children, without the ball, I might say, let's take 5 breaths. And if you've taught for a while, you've probably experienced this too. You'll have one kid or sometimes a few kids who are like, I won, I'm the first one. I'm the first kid who finished the breath. That is 5 breaths. They technically completed the challenge and maybe turned it into a race. And so using the ball to regulate the breath and to say, let's follow the ball for 5 breaths is a way to give children something to focus on and try to slow down the breath. So when we inhale, the ball expands. When we exhale, the ball goes down. So let's follow the breath, follow the ball rather. And we do 5 breaths that way. Now, you may find that I did the breath, move the ball kind of quicker than you might be used to using the ball. And here's why. This is a common mistake that people make when they're using the breathing ball. So this is from the youngyogamasters.com website. There's an article about the breathing ball. And the common mistake that I see adults making is expecting children to breathe at the rate that adults breathe. So when you consider that these are the ventilation or respiration rates for children and adults, we see that, a toddler is breathing 20 to 30 breaths per minute. Adult is breathing 12 to 18 breaths per minute. And so if I do the breathing ball at a rate that I am able to do a deep breath, that's way too long for a child. So I've seen this in family yoga. We have a whole module about family yoga where an adult might say, okay, let's follow the ball. And take a really long time. That's not age appropriate for a toddler or a child, and possibly even a tween. So a common mistake I see is adults not adjusting the size or the speed, rather, the rate of respiration to be relevant or appropriate for the age of a child. So when you're using the breathing ball in your class, you're going to need to speed it up a bit for what an adult would breathe, from what an adult would breathe to what a child would breathe. It's really important to remember the different rates of respiration because you don't want children to feel like they're not able to follow along with the breathing ball and that they're not doing it right or that they're not able to keep up with other kids. You could have a kid who's taking swimming lessons, who's maybe used to taking really deep breaths and maybe has conditioned their breath to slow down. But for a typical kid, they're breathing almost twice as slowly, or rather twice as fast as an adult would breathe. So if you think of the lower end of the adult scale, which is probably what a lot of yoga teachers breathe, is 12 breaths per minute around. And the higher end of a child scale, which is 23 breaths per minute, that's a big difference. That's almost double the speed that children are breathing. And so for that reason, I like to do this fourth breathing ball activity, which is to have the ball follow the child's breath. And so I could introduce the breathing ball, inhale, exhale. This is the speed I'm breathing. And then we could take turns passing the ball around, and the child could have the ball follow their breath. So that if the child's breathing like this, then the ball follows their breath. And we take all the pressure off the child to breathe at a certain pace. We are just focusing on connecting the breath with awareness. And so whatever speed that child is breathing, they can just follow their breath using the ball. And that will be interesting for you as a teacher, because you'll be able to see the actual speed, the typical speed that a child breathes at. And sometimes I have fun with it. Before I'll say, oh, what kind of breath might this be? What might a person be doing when they're breathing like this? And the kids will say, oh, they might be running. And you say, oh, yeah. So we have different speeds of breath. How about if someone's breathing like this? Oh. And then kids will be yawning in your class, because we know that yawns are contagious. You always say like, oh, a yawn is like, oh. So we breathe at different speeds all the time throughout the day, depending on what we're doing. And so let's have the ball follow your breath. So if it's your turn with the ball, show me what speed your breath is moving. And then the breath can follow the ball. And if I notice how I feel after taking all these deep breaths, let's just take a moment to notice how you feel if you've been following along. You might even be feeling a little more energized. You might be feeling a little dizzy sometimes from doing that much breathing. And you might notice like, oh, I'm just going to go back to my regular breathing. And so we then notice that the effect the breath has on the body is that effect changes with how much breathing and how much awareness we're bringing to our breath, all at the same time. So these are just 3 of the activities from our Themes and Dreams Kids Yoga Teacher Training. Please consider checking out youngyogamasters.com about getting your Kids Yoga Teacher certification. We have people who are brand new teachers taking the training and getting all the resources and tools. We also have teachers who are very experienced and just want new ideas. They're also taking the training. Sometimes we've had people take the whole 96-hour training over again just for new ideas. And you could also just take one module. This Themes and Dreams module is just a 16-hour certificate, and it counts towards the 96-hour certificate. So if you're using the breathing ball, have fun. There's lots more activities inside the training, but those 3 will really get you started. And just try using this prop to get kids' attention instead of having to say, okay, everyone, time to listen. You don't have to say anything. Just pull out the ball and start breathing, and you will have kids' attention before you know it. Okay, thanks for watching. It's Aruna from Young Yoga Masters. Bye for now.